Hey, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 3 financial goals that everybody should set in their lifetime. And let me give you a hint. Being broke is not one of them. Keep watching as we dive into the 3 financial goals that everybody should set. Okay, so goal number 1 is to be debt free. Usually at this level, your expenses exceed your monthly income. And the reason that this is a problem is because when your expenses exceed your monthly income, you're typically paying for yesterday's decisions, so you don't have any money to think about your future. This one is an easy one to solve. I like to call it the 1-2 punch to kind of correct this situation or to get out of debt and to get onto the fast track. So the first punch in the 1-2 punch is very simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And so that is to reduce your expenses. Now, the reason I say it's not easy is because it's going to take you to look inside and say, what can I do without? And some of this stuff might mean downsizing your car. Some of the stuff may mean not going shopping as often, getting your hair, your nails done as often. Some of the things that you think are fun or that people are on the outside looking at you thinking, oh, this person isn't driving that car anymore. And so that's why it's simple, but not easy, because you have to look internally and be willing to let go of some of the things that the outside world thinks about you today, so that you can have a better future tomorrow, right? That's the first thing, is to reduce your expenses. So that's one way to bring it down. Now, if you want to speed it up, the second punch in the 1-2 punch is to also increase your income. Thankfully for you, if you're alive in today's day and age, there's so many options for you to increase your income and get on the fast track. For example, you can keep working your full-time job, and you can also pick up a work from home opportunity. So that way you can still be at home with your kids, your family, but maybe you're doing some work on a laptop for an entrepreneur or a solopreneur. The other thing you can do in this day and age of Uber and Lyft is, once you get off work, maybe instead of heading home immediately after work, perhaps you turn on the app and then you drive Uber or you drive Lyft for a few hours so that you can bring in some income. The bottom line is, in this day and age, there are things that you can do that can fit into almost anyone's schedule to bring in some extra money. And last but not least, there's probably some things around your house that you can gather up and put on Craigslist or eBay and start to bring in some money that way. Another key solution to getting out of phase 1, which is getting out of debt, is to really take note of who you owe and then how long it's going to take for you to pay them off. Most people will get discouraged about this step because they'll say something like, it's going to take forever to pay this off, or it's going to take forever to get out of debt. The reality is, if you put it down on paper, you'll find out that forever is really 6 months. Forever is really 12 months. And since 6 to 12 months is going to come anyway, then why not put a game plan in place so that you could be in a better position 6 to 12 months from now? So don't use the ambiguous terms of it's going to take forever, but really sit down, map out who you owe, how much you owe, and how long it's going to take for you to pay it off, as well as how much extra income you will need to earn to speed it up. Once you have that date on the calendar, you can go after it vigorously and realize that it's not forever. It's actually a date on your calendar that your dreams are going to become a reality. Financial goal number 2 is to set a goal to be comfortable. Most people look at comfort as a couple simple things, right? Do you have food? Do you have shelter? Do you have transportation? Typically, if you have those 3 things, you can live a comfortable life. The game plan at this stage, though, is to plan out those what-if scenarios, especially if you have a partner. For example, right now, we're going through a government shutdown at the time of the recording of this video. And if you think about the people who are going through the government shutdown, my heart goes out to them. But I wonder how many of those people sat down and mapped out the what-if scenarios. The what if I get laid off? What if the government shuts down and we don't get paid? What if my company closes down and I'm without a job? And so comfort has to be more than just you can buy the car that you want to buy and you can live in the neighborhood that you want to live in and go out and party. But comfort has to also include some of the what if scenarios. What if you're with a spouse or a partner and you choose to have kids? That's going to create some additional strain on the financial budget. How do you want to retire? How do you want to live when you retire? How much money do you have to have? Do you want to work a second job? What type of house do you want to live in? Is it paid off at that point? Do you want to travel? Those are all things that need to be baked into your comfort level, because there's going to come a day where you don't make the same amount of money that you used to, at least not from a job. So you need to figure out what else do you need to put in place to maintain that comfort for years to come. Goal number 3. This is the one that most people don't make it to because most people don't dream anymore. And that is to be financially independent. You see, if you talk to a kid and you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? That kid will say an astronaut, president of the United States of America, a scientist, a lawyer, a doctor. And nobody looks at that little kid and says, no, you're dreaming too big. No one would take that kid's dreams and say, don't even think about that. That's too much for you to become someday in life, right? And as a grown-up and as adults, when we say, hey, set a goal to be financial independent, some of you might turn that switch off right now and say, no, that's too much. I'll never become financially independent. But I want you to dream for a minute. I want you to think about, what does it mean to become financially independent? Because my definition of financially independent is to have time and money at the same time, never having to decide which one is more important. There are several people that are financially independent that are not necessarily rich. When you think of rich, you think of Lamborghinis, Porsches, big houses, mansions. Financially independent just simply means that your income outpaces your expenses, whether you work or not. So it doesn't mean it has to be a lavish lifestyle. It could be a moderate lifestyle. It could be a low-key lifestyle. You can drive a used car. It doesn't matter. The point is the amount of money that comes in covers all your expenses, whether you work or not. And that's when you've hit financial freedom. Now you have the time and the money to do what you want to do in life. Those are the 3 financial goals that I believe everybody should set. So just to recap, number 1, you need to set a goal to get out of debt. Once you get out of debt, you can start to feel comfortable and move into phase 2. Once you move into phase 2 of comfort, you want to start to prepare for the what if scenarios. And then once you are covered for the what if scenarios, you want to start to keep your eye on financial independence and start to think, what can I do to sustain this lifestyle for years to come, regardless if I work or not? Those are the 3 financial goals that you want to set. And I think one of the best ways to obtain level 3 is to make sure you're keeping an eye on how to invest and how to get your money working for you instead of you always working for it. I also break down this concept when I talk about the cash flow quadrant and talk about how you can have your money working for you in the different quadrants that you can make money in. I'm going to put a link to that video, so check that out. Watch the cash flow quadrant so you can better understand which ways you're making money and in which quadrants, and which quadrants will lead to comfort and which quadrants will lead to wealth. I'll see you on the next video.